Welcome back to the channel JF Coin, my friends. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of United States coinage, and this time the spotlight shines on the incredible 1977 1-cent Lincoln penny, a coin that might look ordinary in your pocket change, but in reality it carries with it decades of history, mystery, and for collectors a potential fortune of value. Now, when we talk about pennies, most people just think of a simple copper coin that has been around forever, tossed into jars, dropped on sidewalks, or given as change at the store. But what if I told you that the 1977 Lincoln penny is not just an everyday coin but a little treasure in disguise, a coin that could be worth not just 1 cent but hundreds of dollars, and in some rare conditions even over $400 and more? So let us first rewind history a little bit and see why this penny is so important. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the beloved 16th president of the United States. For the first time in American history, a real historical person was placed on a circulating coin. Before that, coins usually carried images of liberty, symbols of strength and freedom, but never a real person. Lincoln changed that forever. Fast forward to 1977, America was in a time of transition. The Vietnam War had just ended, the country was going through economic challenges, and the spirit of change was in the air. Amid all this, the familiar Lincoln cent continued to be minted, with that iconic portrait design by Victor David Brenner on the obverse showing the proud and determined face of Abraham Lincoln staring to the right with the words "In God We Trust" above him, liberty to the left, and the date 1977 to the right. On the reverse we still see the famous Lincoln Memorial design, which had been introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. This reverse design, by Frank Gasparo, shows the Grand Memorial standing tall in Washington, D.C., and if you look closely, even with the naked eye, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. It is one of the most beautiful details in American coinage. Now, the 1977 penny is made primarily of copper, about 95% copper and 5% zinc, unlike the pennies that came after 1982, which were switched to a mostly zinc core with a thin copper coating. The 1977 penny has that heavy copper weight and classic ringing sound that collectors love. Just holding it feels different, more solid, and more valuable. But here is where the story gets exciting. While most 1977 pennies are common and still worth just a cent or two, there are certain conditions, certain varieties, and certain rare mint state examples that make this coin worth a small fortune. High-grade examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can fetch values up to $442 in today's coin market. And remember, this is for a coin that millions of people have passed through their hands without realizing the hidden value. So why are these coins valuable? It comes down to rarity, condition, and collector demand. Coins that survive in nearly perfect condition without scratches, marks, or heavy wear are very rare because most pennies are used heavily in daily life. If you find a 1977 penny that looks shiny, bright, and has full detail, it could be worth hundreds. Also, error coins from 1977 are a jackpot. Some pennies were struck off center, some had double die errors on the date or lettering, and those error pennies can command huge prices far above their face value. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket change that looks slightly off. Maybe the numbers in 1977 look doubled, or the rim is missing part of the design. That could be a hidden error coin, and such coins have been known to sell for hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the error. Now let us talk about the market value of the 1977 Lincoln penny. As of today, collectors have paid as much as $442 for pristine examples graded at the top levels by PCGS. A coin in circulation that is worn down might only be worth a cent or two, but the moment you cross into uncirculated territory, especially if it is graded mint state 65 or higher, the value jumps dramatically. If you were lucky enough to have saved rolls of 1977 pennies untouched from the bank, there is a chance you are sitting on a little gold mine in copper. Collectors love the 1977 penny because it sits right before the big metal change in 1982. It is one of the last classic copper Lincoln Memorial cents, and that alone makes it desirable. Add in the nostalgia of the late 70s and the fact that many collectors want to complete a full set of Lincoln cents, and you have a recipe for rising demand. So how do you know if your 1977 penny is valuable? First, take a good look at the condition. Is it shiny with sharp details, or is it dull and worn out? A worn penny might just be worth face value, but a clean, crisp one could be worth much more. Second, look for any strange doubling in the lettering or date, and check for any off-center strikes or missing details. If you spot an error, that is when the real treasure hunt begins. It is also important to protect your coin. If you believe you have a rare 1977 penny, do not clean it. Cleaning coins actually lowers their value because it damages the natural surface. Collectors want originality, so the best way to handle your coin is with cotton gloves or by the edges. Only store it in a coin flip or a protective holder to keep it safe from scratches. Now let us not forget the fun side of this hobby. Searching through your pocket change or old coin jars at home can be like a mini treasure hunt. You never know when a rare 1977 Lincoln penny will appear, and even if you do not find one worth hundreds, you are still holding a piece of American history, a coin that traveled through decades carrying the story of Abraham Lincoln and the people who used it in everyday life. So next time you get a handful of change, take a closer look at that penny from 1977, because hidden among the ordinary might be something extraordinary, a coin that tells a story of history, design, and value. And who knows, maybe one day you will be the person who finds a coin worth hundreds of dollars simply because you paid attention to the details. The 1977 Lincoln penny proves that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest treasures. So keep your eyes open, keep collecting, and remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth far more than you ever imagined. Do you want me to also create a catchy YouTube video title ideas list for this script that will grab viewers quickly? Today we are diving deep into the history and value of a very special coin, the 1981 Lincoln 1 cent, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance but in reality can be worth a fortune. Some rare examples of this coin have even reached market values as high as $442, making it one of the most exciting discoveries for collectors and coin hunters around the world. So stay tuned till the very end because you do not want to miss the full story of this coin, why it is important in American history, how to identify the rare versions, and how you can check if the pennies you already have might be worth a lot of money. Let's start with the history. The Lincoln penny is one of the longest-running coin series in the history of the United States. It was first introduced back in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States who led the nation through the Civil War and ended slavery. The design of the coin was groundbreaking at the time because it was the first United States coin to feature the portrait of a real person rather than a symbolic figure. The designer was Victor David Brenner, who created the iconic image of Lincoln that still appears on the penny today. By the time we reached the year 1981, the penny had already gone through decades of changes, minting variations, and historical events. The 1981 Lincoln cent stands at an interesting moment in coin history because it was one of the last years when the coin was struck in 95% copper and only 5% zinc and tin. Starting in 1982, the United States Mint changed the composition to copper-plated zinc because the price of copper was rising too high, and the cost of making a penny was becoming more than the value of the coin itself. That means the 1981 penny represents the final chapter of the traditional copper cent, and that alone makes it more collectible and historically important. But what makes certain 1981 pennies so valuable? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and mint errors. Not every penny from 1981 will be worth hundreds of dollars. Most of them are still worth just face value, a single cent. But there are special cases that make the coin truly shine in the eyes of collectors. One of the main factors is the mint mark and where the coin was produced. The United States Mint struck pennies in Philadelphia with no mint mark, in Denver with the D mint mark, and in San Francisco with the S mint mark for proof coins. The 1981 S-proof penny is highly collectible, especially in pristine condition with deep cameo contrast. There are also varieties of the S-mint mark, known as Type 1 and Type 2, where the design of the mint mark is slightly different. The Type 2 proof coin is especially sought after by collectors. Another important factor is errors and variations. Some 1981 pennies are known to have striking errors, off-center designs, doubled dies, or other minting mistakes that make them extremely rare. A doubled die, for example, is when the coin's design is struck twice in a slightly different position, creating a visible doubling effect on the lettering or the portrait. These types of errors are very popular with collectors and can boost the value of a coin dramatically. Now let us talk about grading and condition. A coin in poor condition with scratches, dirt, or heavy wear will not bring in much value. but a 1981 Lincoln penny in mint state condition, graded by professional services as MS-65, MS-66, or higher, can be worth hundreds of dollars. The sharpness of the strike, the luster of the copper surface, and the lack of blemishes all contribute to the grade and therefore to the market value. And this brings us to the exciting part, the market value. In recent auctions and collector sales, some of the rarest 1981 pennies in top condition have sold for as much as $442. Imagine that, a coin that people often overlook or spend without thinking, turning out to be worth more than 400 times its face value. This is why coin collecting is such an exciting hobby. It is like a treasure hunt where even the smallest coin in your change could turn out to be a valuable prize. If you are wondering how to check if your 1981 penny is valuable, here are some tips. First, look at the mint mark under the date to see if it was made in Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia. Second, check the overall condition of the coin. If it looks sharp, shiny, and almost new, it could be a candidate for high grading. Third, use a magnifying glass to examine the details for possible errors like doubling, misaligned strikes, or unusual shapes in the letters and numbers. And finally, if you believe your coin might be valuable, you can send it to a professional grading service for official evaluation and certification. Remember, the joy of collecting coins is not only about money but also about the history each piece carries. The 1981 Lincoln penny is not just a small copper coin, it is a piece of American heritage, a reminder of Abraham Lincoln's legacy, and a symbol of the transition from traditional copper cents to modern plated zinc cents. It is a connection between the past and the present, and holding one in your hand is like holding a piece of history. So the next time you get change from a store, do not just toss those pennies aside. Take a moment to look closely because you never know when you might come across a 1981 ultra-rare Lincoln penny that could be worth hundreds of dollars. And who knows, maybe that single penny could change your entire day or even start you on the path to becoming a passionate coin collector. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the story of the 1981 Lincoln cent. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more hidden treasures and rare coin stories, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next upload. Until next time, happy collecting and always keep an eye on your change because treasures are everywhere waiting to be found. Would you like me to also write a shorter version of this script that's more like a fast-paced viral style for YouTube Shorts, so you can cover both long and short formats? Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of United States 1-cent coins, and we have something truly special for you. We are going to talk about the 1989 D Ultra Lincoln penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and everyday treasure hunters all across the country. Believe it or not, this 1-cent coin that most people overlook or even toss aside without a second thought can actually be worth hundreds of dollars, with certain rare examples fetching up to $442 in today's collector's market. So if you think pennies are just pocket change, think again. This coin might just change your perspective forever. Now let us start with the history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation for over a century. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it was the first United States coin to feature the image of an actual historical figure instead of symbols of liberty or allegorical designs. The obverse, or the front side of the coin, shows the bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse at that time featured 2 wheat stalks which we call wheat pennies. Later, in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial, a design we still see on the 1989 penny. By 1982, the composition of the Lincoln penny had also changed. Before that year, pennies were primarily made of copper, but due to rising costs of the metal, the mint switched to a copper-plated zinc planchet. That means your 1989 D penny is actually 97.5% zinc with just a thin layer of copper, and it weighs 2.5 grams instead of the old heavier 3.11 grams copper cents. Now let's focus on the specific coin in question, the 1989 D Lincoln penny. The letter D under the year 1989 represents the Denver Mint, one of the major mints of the United States. In that year alone, the Denver Mint produced over 4 billion Lincoln cents. Yes, billions with a B. Because of that massive mintage, most 1989 D pennies are common and only worth face value. But here's where things get exciting. Not all coins are struck perfectly. Some were minted with errors, some survived in immaculate condition, and a handful became extraordinary rarities known among collectors as ultra-grade coins. The term ultra refers to coins that have been preserved in outstanding condition, often graded by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC at extremely high levels like MS68, or even higher. Imagine a penny struck more than 30 years ago that still looks as fresh as the day it rolled out of the mint, with sharp details, blazing luster, and absolutely no wear. Those are the coins that collectors will pay big money for. So how does a regular 1989 D penny turn into a coin worth $442? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and collector demand. A normal circulated penny from 1989 D is only worth 1 cent. But if you have a coin that was carefully preserved, stored away without scratches, marks, or signs of wear, you could be holding on to a gem. Collectors will pay premiums for coins that stand out from the millions of others in circulation. There are also varieties and mint errors to look out for. Some 1989 D pennies show doubling on the date, or lettering which is known as a double die variety. Others might have off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned, clipped planchets where a piece of the coin is missing, or even transitional planchet errors where the wrong metal was used. Each of these errors can push the value of a penny far above its face value. Let us talk about market trends. In recent years, coin collecting has seen a massive surge in popularity. As more people begin to appreciate the artistry, history, and investment potential of coins, the demand for rare and high-grade pennies has risen. The 1989 D Ultra Lincoln penny is one of those coins benefiting from this renewed interest. In auctions, top-graded examples have sold for hundreds of dollars, sometimes reaching that impressive $442 mark. And as time goes on, the chances of finding these coins in perfect condition become slimmer, making them even more valuable to collectors. Now here is a tip for you treasure hunters. If you want to check your own pocket change or coin jars for valuable 1989 D pennies, grab a magnifying glass and good lighting. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, and the overall condition. Coins with sharp edges, full original red copper color, and no scratches are the ones you should set aside. If you think you have a truly pristine example, consider sending it to a grading service. A certified grade can significantly boost the market value of your coin. It is also important to understand that not every old coin is valuable. The value lies in rarity and condition. That is why some people get discouraged when they search through rolls of pennies and only find common examples. But remember, even though billions were minted, only a few survived in ultra condition. And those are the treasures everyone is chasing. Imagine finding a coin in your spare change worth hundreds of dollars. That is the excitement and mystery of coin collecting. Every coin has a story to tell, and the 1989 D Lincoln penny is no different. From its origins in the Denver Mint, to its zinc and copper composition, to the lucky collectors who discover rare high-grade examples, this little 1-cent piece carries history, artistry, and value far beyond its tiny size. So next time you see a penny, do not ignore it. Check the year, look for the mint mark, and pay attention to condition. You never know when you might stumble upon an Ultra Lincoln penny that could add hundreds of dollars to your collection. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the world of the 1989 D Ultra Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, rare finds, and the hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Coin collecting is more than a hobby, it is a journey into history and a chance to discover treasures hiding in plain sight. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and remember that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. Would you like me to also write you a shorter, catchy intro hook version of this script that grabs attention fast for YouTube viewers? Today we are going to explore the fascinating story and the incredible market value of the 2003 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance but can actually be worth a small fortune. Believe it or not, some examples of this coin have been valued at around $442, making it one of the modern-era pennies that collectors are searching for right now. So stay with me until the end of this video because you might just discover that the penny hiding in your pocket or coin jar is worth far more than a single cent. Let us start with the history of the Lincoln penny. First issued in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the Lincoln cent has become the longest-running coin design in United States history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse shows the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, while the reverse originally featured two wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and growth. In 1959, to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the coin itself, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design, a version that remained until 2008. That means the 2003 penny we are talking about today belongs to the Memorial Reverse era, carrying a design that millions of Americans are instantly familiar with. The year 2003 may not seem like ancient history, but in coin collecting even modern coins can become valuable due to rarity, minting errors, condition, and demand among collectors. In 2003, the United States Mint struck billions of pennies across different facilities including Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia pennies carry no mint mark while the Denver coins feature a D mint mark just below the date. While the majority of these coins entered circulation and remain common, certain examples with striking errors or pristine conditions have shocked collectors with their surprising values at auctions and private sales. Now, let's talk about why some 2003 Lincoln pennies can be worth up to $442. The key lies in rarity and condition. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins in mint state condition, especially those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A flawless coin with full luster, sharp details, and no scratches or wear can command huge premiums over face value. Some 2003 pennies graded as MS-68, which is an incredibly high grade, have sold for hundreds of dollars, far surpassing the value you would expect from a coin minted in the billions. Imagine finding one of those shiny, uncirculated pennies in a roll of change, tucked away in a collection, or sitting forgotten in a drawer. That discovery could easily turn into several $100s instantly. But it is not just high grades that make these coins valuable. Mint errors play a huge role too. Error coins have always fascinated collectors because they are like little mysteries from the minting process. For the 2003 penny, known errors include off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. Some off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin was not properly aligned during striking, can sell for big money depending on how dramatic the error is. Double die errors, where parts of the design such as the date or the lettering appear doubled, are especially popular because they are easily noticeable and highly collectible. Even small variations can raise the value significantly, sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars. Another factor that makes the 2003 Lincoln penny interesting is the composition. By 2003, the penny was made of a zinc core with a thin copper plating. While earlier pennies were mostly copper, the switch to zinc happened in 1982 due to rising copper prices. This composition sometimes causes unusual problems like plating bubbles or blistering, which can also create varieties that collectors find desirable. So if you come across a 2003 penny with unusual texture, bubbles, or odd coloration, do not throw it away. It could be an error coin worth serious money. Now let's dive deeper into the market value. A standard circulated 2003 penny is still worth just 1 cent, and you will find millions of them in your everyday change. But an uncirculated coin in mint state condition can sell anywhere from a few dollars to several hundred depending on its grade. The highest values, reaching around $442, come from coins that have been professionally graded as near-perfect examples or those that feature dramatic errors. Auction houses and online marketplaces have recorded such sales, proving that collectors are willing to pay big money for these modern rarities. So how can you check if you have a valuable 2003 penny? Start by looking at the condition. Is the coin shiny, free of scratches, and showing full detail in Lincoln's hair and beard? If yes, it may be worth sending to a grading service. Next, check for mint errors by carefully examining the date, lettering, and edges. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loupe to spot doubling, off-center strikes, or other unusual features. Finally, separate your coins by mint mark because collectors often prefer certain mintages depending on rarity. The beauty of coin collecting is that it transforms something as simple as pocket change into a treasure hunt. Every time you receive change at the grocery store, every time you search through a roll of coins from the bank, or every time you check an old jar of pennies in the attic, you could be holding onto a small fortune. The 2003 Lincoln penny proves that modern coins should never be ignored because hidden gems are out there waiting to be discovered. In conclusion, the 2003 1-cent Lincoln penny might look ordinary, but its history, errors, and rare high-grade examples make it an exciting piece for collectors. With some coins reaching a market value of $442, this is not just a penny but a potential jackpot for those who know what to look for. So keep your eyes open, check your change carefully, and never underestimate the power of a small coin. Who knows, your next great discovery might be sitting right in your pocket. If you enjoyed learning about the surprising value of the 2003 Lincoln penny, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with other coin enthusiasts. And remember, every coin tells a story, and every penny could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Do you want me to also write you a shorter, super catchy intro for this same video that immediately hooks viewers in the first 10 seconds?